Hi everybody, what we're going to do today is talk about the foods that you should be eating when you're on the carnivore diet. And the foods you should be eating should be as low in carbs as possible. So I'm going to give you a list of things that I eat that are less than 1% carbohydrate. Okay, so let's get into it. The first thing obviously is meat. Now everybody's favourite on the carnivore diet seems to be beef. Wherever you go on the internet and they're talking about what type of meat to eat, it's beef, beef, beef. Now don't get me wrong, I like beef, but I do find that it's very, very expensive and it doesn't have as much taste as some of the other alternatives that I tend to eat on a fairly regular basis. If I'm having beef, I'll have either minced beef or I will take steak. I don't bother roasting a joint or anything like that. I'll have steak and I'll buy as good a piece of steak as I can. But once again, I do find that steak is very, very expensive. The meat that I eat most of all, the meat that I nearly always eat, to be honest, is pork. Pork doesn't seem to get as much praise by people that are on the carnivore diet as I would like to give it. I love pork. It's high in fat, it's good quality meat. Belly pork or pork bellies, whatever way you want to call it, is probably the meat that I eat on a more regular basis than anything. The other thing I like to do is you can buy small crackling joints, and the beauty of a crackling joint is rub plenty of salt into the crackling on the top, bung it in the oven for an hour and a half, and when it comes out, that joint will do you for 2 or 3 meals, and the crackling on the top and the fat underneath is absolutely gorgeous. I love it. It's like nectar to me. I could sit and eat it all day, and the fat underneath just melts like butter. It's beautiful. So pork is my favourite meat. Chicken, I do eat chicken. I tend to get a whole chicken and pop it in the oven and just let it cook itself. I occasionally will eat boneless, skinless breast, but there's not a very high fat content on there. Just the other day I bought a kilo of chicken wings. They were really, really cheap. Put those in the oven, and the thing I like about the chicken wings is they come with the skin on, so you're eating the chicken skin as well as the chicken, and the chicken skin, as we know, is very, very high in fat. So the chicken wings were really, really good and I really enjoyed them. And it's more interesting to sit and gnaw at the bones and things like that than it is just sticking it in your mouth, chewing and swallowing. It adds a little bit more interest in your food. Offal. I like offal, I like liver, I like pig's liver, I like ox liver. I find ox liver a little bit strong, and I like lamb liver. But my favourite, believe it or not, is chicken liver. I just really enjoy chicken liver. Just open the packet, give it a quick rinse, chuck it in the frying pan with a bit of butter or a bit of coconut oil and fry them up, and then crack a few eggs in with it and just mix it all in together, and it's a beautiful meal. I really, really enjoy it. Chicken livers are absolutely superb. There are other meats that I eat occasionally. I occasionally eat turkey, but I find turkey to be a little bit bland. Duck, I like duck and pheasant. They tend to be a stronger meat, tend to be stronger flavoured, and I don't have them very often. Duck and pheasant tend to be quite expensive as well, so I don't really bother with them. Lamb, I love a piece of lamb. Once again, a lamb joint or lamb chops. Lamb chops are absolutely full of delicious fat, very, very tasty, very easy to cook. Everything for me needs to be easy to cook. I don't want anything that's difficult to cook. I just want an easy way to do things. One thing that I tend to eat more or less every day are eggs. I eat a lot of eggs. I try and buy as big an egg as I can get, and I try and buy free range eggs. I love free range eggs, but my favourite of all are duck eggs. I absolutely love duck eggs. They're big, they're very, very tasty, and they're just, well, I can't explain it. They're just absolutely fabulous, duck eggs. So if you've not tried duck eggs before, oh, I've got hiccups. If you've not tried duck eggs before, try duck eggs, and goose eggs, they're nice as well. There's another type of egg that most people don't think about, and that's fish eggs or roe. It's not one of my favourites, but they are very, very good. Full of protein, full of fat, and if you mix it in with other things, if you don't particularly like the taste, then they go down quite well. Occasionally, and I don't have this very often, and it is very, very expensive, is ostrich. You can buy ostrich meat, and ostrich meat is beautiful. It's full of fat and tastes really, really nice. Right, let's talk about seafood. What kind of seafood do we want to be eating? Well, more or less anything, as long as it's proper seafood. It's not this reconstituted crab sticks and things like that. You need to be very careful when you're buying fish. Just make sure that you read the labels and make sure it is 100% salmon or cod or whatever it is supposed to be in the packaging. Just make sure it says salmon and nothing else, cod and nothing else. Cod's great. I love cod. It's dead easy to cook. Pop it in the microwave, bit of water, 2 or 3 minutes and it's cooked. Salmon, I tend to eat salmon raw, to be honest, skin and all. I don't have it very often. Once again, salmon is something that is quite expensive. That's why pork is my staple meat, because it's relatively inexpensive. Tuna, I tend to eat tuna, not a fantastic amount, unless it's out of a tin. And if it's out of a tin, I have it in water. I don't have it in sunflower oil or anything like that. I always buy it just in water or in brine. That's the way to eat tuna out of a tin. Then of course we've got shellfish, such as mussels, crabs, I suppose you can call crabs shellfish, lobster, shrimps. My favourite are oysters. I love oysters. A lot of people think these are disgusting, whelks, but I love whelks. They're nice and chewy and they've got loads of flavour, and stick plenty of vinegar on them and quite a bit of salt on there. And whelks are absolutely wonderful and really, really tasty. I love them. Some of the smaller fish, the mackerel and things like that, are very, very good, full of oil, full of healthy fats. They're absolutely great for eats. Herring I tend to eat, but not very often. I'm not a big herring fan, but mackerel I definitely like. Another fish that's very, very tasty is trout. You can either grill it or put it in a pan and fry it, or do it in the oven. It's very, very tasty. Eat the skin as well, and it's great for you. Nice bit of trout, and trout's not as expensive as it used to be. Trout used to be very expensive, but it's not so bad now. Right, cheese. I eat a fair bit of cheese, normally cheddar or Cheshire or something like that, if I'm having some kind of meat, especially chicken. If it's chicken breast, it tends to be a bit low in fat and not have a great amount of flavour. I will add chicken in it. I'll cut it open and put chicken in it. I'll put cheese in it. I'll cut it open, put cheese in the middle, and just leave the cheese there to melt for the last 5 or 10 minutes while it's cooking, so it all melts and infuses into the chicken, and it's beautiful. So what kind of cheeses can we eat? Well, obviously, like I've just said, cheddar, Cheshire, Parmesan cheese. The main thing is, when you're looking at cheese, look on the label and look at the carbohydrate content. Cheese tends to be very high in fat, so it's good for you, and it's very, very filling. But you do need to check and make sure that the carbohydrate content is nice and low. Soft cheeses tend to be okay. You can eat soft cheeses as well, but once again, just read the label to make sure that the carbohydrate content is very, very low. So what do I cook my stuff in? What do I cook my food in? I tend to cook it in either lard or beef dripping. I tend to use a lot of coconut oil. Coconut oil I love. I'll even put a spoonful of coconut oil in my coffee. I obviously don't use sunflower oil or anything like that. I occasionally use olive oil, but I make sure that it's a good quality virgin olive oil that I'm using. And that's about it really. So it's just basically lard or beef fat or bacon fat, virgin coconut oil, and that's about all I use really. I find I don't need anything else. I tend to add a lot of salt into my cooking, which obviously adds quite a bit of flavour, and you need the minerals as well. So that's basically what I'm eating. Now occasionally I will have food that are slightly higher in carbohydrates, but it's very rare. And one of the few things I do eat is celery. Thing about celery is it's mostly water, and when I eat celery I'll only have a couple of sticks, perhaps once or twice a week. But the beauty of it is, when I was a kid I used to eat celery and I'll have a little pile of salt on my plate and dip my celery in my salt and eat it like that. So I find it's good for adding or boosting my salt intake. Sometimes I'll put some cream cheese in it and have celery and cream cheese, so once again I'm bumping my fat content up. And celery is only about 3 grams or 3% carbohydrates, so it's not bad at all, and it gives you something else to eat. It gives you something that's crunchy and it's got a different flavour if you get fed up of eating meat and eggs and fish all the time, and you just want something a little bit different, and it's not going to kick you out of ketosis. Have a bit of celery, stick a bit of salt on it or stick a bit of cream cheese in it, and you'll be good to go. Anyway, that's basically what I eat. I hope it's been informative and helpful. If it has, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe down there, and hopefully I will see you in the next video, and hopefully there'll be a little less of me. It's only another few days now until I've been on this diet for a month, and I will shortly be doing another video to give you my total results of how much weight I've lost and how I'm feeling and how it's affecting my body. So like I said, see you all soon. Bye everybody.